You're listening to She's the Business podcast. Would you like to create more prosperity, more fulfillment, more freedom in your business? Well, if that's you, stay tuned because in today's episode, I'm sharing with you a lesson that I learnt not once, but actually twice in both of my businesses. And I'm sharing it with you today because I want to help more people find an easier path to the outcomes that they want in their business. So stay tuned. Hi, I'm your host, Jessica Osborne, and in my 23 years of business and marketing, I've built many brands to become multi-billion-dollar companies. And just in the last 10 years, I've built 2 online businesses of my own from my dining room table with 2 little babies running around at my feet. I've made it my mission to inspire you to get out of your own way and become the successful business owner who's living the lifestyle you really desire without all the hustle. This is She's the Business podcast, made by women for women. This is your weekly dose of motivation and inspiration. Okay, let's get into this today. So, if you also, when you started your business, you wanted to create more freedom, more flexibility to be able to work the sort of hours you want to work, be able to work on your own terms, and you just wanted, of course, to be earning at least as much, but if not more, have that untapped potential that you really have when you have your own business, then chances are that this story is going to feel quite relatable for you. So back in 2017, I decided to start this business. Why did I start it? Because I had been in my corporate role for, I think, around 19 years at that time. I, stayed in it for an extra year, but I had got to this point where I could see really clearly the path in front of me heading to the CEO's seat or a CEO of any business. And I was looking at, the life that he was leading and thinking, well, that's not what I want in my life. That's actually almost the dead opposite. He's working such long hours, sacrificing everything that his family was doing, missing out on all of the kids' stuff, really was not having a life of anything much except the business. And I know that this isn't, necessarily across the board, but I was then looking at, the other executives and people who I'd said, would have previously thought, well, that's where I want to step up to. And, the same story was there and there and there again. And I had that real moment because I had a toddler at home. I was pregnant with my second child. And I was thinking, you know what, as much as I love my career, as much as I'm hardworking, I'm very motivated, this is not how I perceived my life to be, where I was literally chained to a desk. Well, maybe not when you're the CEO, but it feels that way when work has taken over life and you're really not living your life. I thought that's not what I actually want. It's not what I'm here for. That's not how I want to look back on my life in these important years and think that that's how I spent the best years of my life. So I started the business. I was in hospital. I just had my baby. I was literally their brand new newborn baby, and I pressed the button on an email that said, yep, I'm going to register this business and I'm starting it. So I committed to it right then and there in the hospital. I had 9 months of maternity leave to make it a success. And, I thought this time I was actually really, really committed to that outcome. It wasn't my first business. I'd already had a business prior to that. And this time I was like, no, this is it. I do not want to go back to the job. I actually really want to put everything into this. I want to have a business that means I don't have to return to work by the time I would have been due to go back to work. So that was my goal. But the thing was as well, I didn't want to sacrifice the time with my newborn while I was building the business. So this for me was the ultimate test. Can I actually have a business where I can spend the time I want to spend with my kids and I can have a business that is, really profitable, that's fulfilling, that is very much part-time, and provides the income that I'm used to. And I thought, well, why not? Why can't I make this happen? So let's do it. That's what I set out to do. Everything was going pretty well, and I guess I probably took about 6 months, to be honest, to set up what I felt was setting up the business. And yes, there's a load of things I did then that I wouldn't do now if I had my time again. But you have to remember, coming out of corporate type of businesses, there were lots of things that felt like this is just what you need to have, even to get off the ground and to start things running on day one. Since then, I, really see that that's totally not the case at all, but I thought I needed it then. So I spent about 6 months, getting a website and social media channels and starting to post and what have you, before I was ready to take on clients. And in the first month I took on some clients, or decided I would take on clients, I actually signed 5 people, just literally kind of stepped out of thin air, and bang, all of a sudden I had 5 clients. So beautiful. That was all working really well. Fast forward about 6 weeks, maybe 2 months later, and I remember exactly where I was standing. I was outside on the back veranda of my house, and I had about 7 clients at the time. And I just thought, this is it. I actually am completely at capacity. I cannot take on another client. My brain is starting to stretch and fry. And for me, because I'm someone that always stretches my brain, that was actually quite a big acknowledgement of really how much effort and energy I had used up. I was like, I am at the limit. I cannot take on any more clients. I will completely start losing the plot. Plus, I'll start compromising on that important lifestyle that I had, really being able to enjoy my baby girl, and see her growing up and be there for her. So this presented a bit of a conundrum for me, because when I looked at the numbers, I realized that in order to meet my, very modest sort of first goals, I probably needed about 20 clients at the way that I was currently operating, what I was offering, how I was offering it. I needed about 20 clients on my books at any one time, and I had 6 to 7. So clearly that's a massive, massive gap there. And I had that moment of thinking, okay, well, I've created a business, it's working, I've got clients, but it is not a game that I can win. I'm not actually going to get to my goals if I continue down this path. And it was around that time that I was due to go back to work. So really nice way to coincide. And I was thinking, well, I've got a business, but, it's not really going to get me where I want to be, or at least it's not right now. I need to do something a bit different. And I went back to work for about a week. And that was long enough for me to realize this is absolutely where I do not want to be. It really sealed the nail in the coffin, so to speak, of my career, because I thought, I've already stepped past this. I'm already gone from here. I'm not energetically in this place. And luckily, as luck would have it, I guess the universe helped me push along that way in breaking free of the job, because my boss was sort of trying to get me to agree to a demotion and change my role. And I thought, you know what? Actually, I'd rather just have a redundancy. So I negotiated for a redundancy, and we all said goodbye about a week later, which was fantastic. So I kind of was like, bang, here I am back at home with my business and my baby and where I want to be. But I still had this problem on my hands of like, well, I haven't created the game that I can win yet. I'm kind of like, I've got one step along the road, but I'm not there in a place that I can see, I'm not able to scale it to the point where I'm going to be earning what I need to earn, because I'm already working the max amount of hours. I'm already at capacity mentally as well in my brain. So this was the point where I kind of had to take a moment and pause and breathe and reflect on, what was it that I was actually doing, and why was this not creating the outcome I wanted? And yeah, there's some simple numbers involved. You might be thinking, well, raise your price. It's really simple. And yeah, I guess it can be like that. But as you may also feel in your business, sometimes it's not just about, well, okay, just change the number on the page or change what it is. It was like, well, the kind of people I was attracting right now, what I was offering was really aligned for them and at that level. So that was a moment that I realized I'd already kind of had this lesson once in my previous business, my first business I started. I'd got to a point, so I'll go off down a little tangent so I can explain what the lesson is, but it had been a really, really great lesson to learn at the time, because when I learned it, I turned the business around and made it super successful. So I'd had sort of a bit of a trickle of clients with my first business, and when I had a client literally try to blackmail me after receiving her item and having the best service that she could possibly have had, she tried to blackmail me by saying that she was going to write bad reviews all over the internet if I didn't refund all of her money. And she was keeping the pieces as well. I kind of had this moment of like, okay, this is either boom or bust. I'm going to have to do something different because I cannot have clients like this. My business will not survive if I'm in a place where I'm attracting this sort of person that thinks that this is acceptable behavior to behave in this way. And at that time, what I did was I shifted the entire business into, well, that sounds really big. It was a micro business and it was just me in it. So shifting the business wasn't like an enormous thing to do. I shifted who I was targeting and I shifted what my offering was, because I decided I didn't want to be there for the sort of clients that were, not within integrity. They were not high vibe. It was really, feeling like it wasn't worth my while to be doing what I was doing at that point. And I shifted to align for a better quality of client, like people who actually really wanted something that they valued. And I shifted my offering, my service, how I provided it, how I marketed it, everything like that. I did a whole series of tweaks. I realigned for a different quality of client. Literally, as soon as I did that, I was actually selling more, amazingly. So I charged more, of course, but I was selling more because I was completely aligned to this new level of client. And what that did was pretty much overnight made my business at least double in profit. I was able to hire a VA to sort of manage it for me, which was great because I wasn't really into that business that much at all. It was one of my mistakes was doing a business that I wasn't hugely passionate about what it was. And anyway, I ended up selling that business because it was suddenly an asset. It was profitable, it was working, and I'm like, great, I actually don't really want it. It's not the right business for me. I sold it. And I was able to focus on just this business, which is exactly leveraging, everything that I know and love, and it's the right place for me to be. So that was my little tangent. That was a lesson I learned then, was like, if I was just shifted to align for a better quality of client, it changed my entire business result. It actually made it far more profitable, much more fulfilling and enjoyable, because I was suddenly working with people who really valued what it was I was able to provide for them. And they were much more pleasant to deal with, much lower maintenance. So it actually took me less time to service them than it did before, with a cheaper, seemingly more basic service, but with all these really high maintenance, tricky clients. So everything completely flipped on its head. And I took this lesson into my business now. And I thought, no, this is the answer. I need to realign, what it is that I'm about, what I offer and who I'm here for a better quality of client. And that's not to say, I'm leaving people behind, or I'm saying, that I didn't want to help those people. It was more that there are loads of options out there. I don't need to be there for everybody, but for my business to be successful and in the way that I structured my services and my offerings, this needs to be the kind of business like that where I can win, a game that I can win at business in. And that meant I needed to earn more in that time that I had available. So I needed to adjust and restructure and reposition myself so I would attract a better quality of client and be able to, really get that higher revenue in the time that I had to work in the business. So that's what I did. That was where I kind of went, yes, I'm applying that. Guess what? It worked again, of course. And I reapplied that quite a few times over the last few years. Every time that I've kind of got to a new place where I'd been assessing, who I'm working with, what is this like, figuring out what is a good quality client for me and what's not a good quality client. And each time, little micro tweaks happening in there that meant I could realign, readjust, and be attracting the right people. Now, when this is working, when, this year, if you've been following me on the podcast, you would already have heard that I took 8 months with my family, my husband, my 2 kids. We hitched up a caravan to the tow bar on the back of our car, and we drove around Australia, literally around the outside of it. I took my business on the road with me. I decided, I didn't want to stop or have a pause for that time. I actually will keep it going and working with clients. And interestingly, over that time, even though I worked so much less, I actually was converting 90% of the sales calls I was on. So I think there was I don't have a lot of them because I don't offer a lot of one-to-one. So there was like 2 people who decided not to sign up with me out of, the calls that I had. And that was amazing. I was like, 90% is incredible. That's so much better than it used to be. These are high value services. It's not like with something really cheap that someone can just sign up and think, I'll do that, and throw a bit of money at it and it's done. This is signing up to one-to-one coaching, which is obviously my most premium offering that I have, because you get me and my time just on your own. So that was really interesting, wasn't it? And what that said to me was, well, the alignment piece that you've done for these type of quality clients is 100% working, because the right people are showing up, the right people are booking calls, they exactly match who I'm targeting, and they're saying yes. There's really no question in their mind that this is the right option for them, which is fantastic. It's working. And how easy does that make life? I don't have to go out there and hunt down clients. I don't have to do so much stuff to, try to find them, which is what I see so many people doing. So this is really, when I'm talking about the secret to prosperity, to having that profit coming in so that your business is, absolutely supporting the sort of lifestyle that you want to have. It's providing you with fulfillment, because the kind of clients you're working with are really aligned to you. They're aligned to your values. They allow you to offer your greatest value to them, which of course is what lights you up inside. And can you imagine the difference when you're doing a service just because it's something that you can sell, just because someone has asked you for it, or because you know that they'll pay for it, but it's maybe not what you really want to talk about or what you love to tell people about. It's kind of like, okay, well, it's like the bread and butter that you get when you go out for a meal that you're not even ordering, but they just deliver to your table anyway. Well, of course, you can do that. People will pay you money for that piece, but it's not going to be of the level that you will be getting when you are delivering your highest value. And that's what being aligned to quality clients allows you to do, because quality clients want quality. They actually really want your highest value. That's what they're looking for. They're already wanting what it is that you're offering. And when you are attracting them, when you're there and you're able to attract these people who are in sync with you, with what your style is, your vibe, how you go about your business, it's a win-win for everybody, because they're actually getting what they want as well. So, what is a quality client, you might be saying? Because, I guess when we look at this, I'm saying the secret to fulfillment, freedom, prosperity is simply just aligning yourself with quality clients. And you're like, well, what is a quality client? And I love that question, because it is a bit different for everybody. That, what you value might be different to what I value. So that's a question that you need to ask yourself. Well, what does a quality client look like for you? What makes somebody for you a high quality client? Is it because they're really committed? So they actually, respond, they show up, they do what they said they were going to do. They are committed in terms of they're willing to invest. They actually believe and see what this outcome is that they want, and they're willing to invest in it. They're not just looking for the free option on Google, or turning up to all the free trainings and things that people are putting out there and trying to duct tape it together themselves, do a bit of DIY in the background. Those people are trying something out, but they're not really committed to the outcome, because they're not willing to invest more than their time, which of course is valuable, but they know they're DIYing it. It'd be like me saying, well, hey, I'm really committed to having a new bathroom in my house, but I don't want to pay for someone to come and put it in. I'm just going to do some YouTube videos, and I'm going to knock it together myself and get all the plumbing pieces and try to put this bathroom together. Well, I'm pretty sure that you and I both know the outcome I would achieve versus if I just hired an expert would be totally, totally different. So yes, I'm sort of committed to the outcome, but I'm actually not fully committed because I'm not committed enough to get myself a good quality outcome. Now, this is what we're looking for, is the person that actually wants the quality. They don't want to muck around with all the DIY stuff. They probably value their time. They probably value their time so much. They're like, I am sick of all the trial and error. I don't want to go down 10 different tangents to try to find the one that's the right one for me. I just want to get there faster and in a better, more efficient way. That person is a higher quality client. Now, in my books as well, they are people who are really pleasant to get along with. They are in this as it's a really good partnership, a good relationship. It is not something where, you've got a person sitting there with high expectations and, treating you as if you're an employee, when really, there's two business owners there that are working together. There might be things like paying on time, never defaulting on payments, that sort of thing that can definitely put someone into the quality client category. So have a think about it. What does that mean for you? And how many of those are you attracting? Is it like, wow, you've had one person that would fit into quality client category, or is that mostly what you're attracting at the moment? I find that, or I noticed actually, that there's a lot of people who haven't really figured out that there's a difference. I'd say that. They're not aware that there's a difference. So in their marketing and in their business, they are out there to attract clients. And they're like, yep, I need clients. I need more clients. That'll make my business more successful. And sometimes, yes, but as you heard in my story, well, if you're at capacity, how are you going to bring on more clients? And if you're already at capacity and you're not getting your income goals, then it's not really allowing you even to bring on other people to help you service the more people that you need to hit the income goals, because all you're doing is cutting down the profitability of your business. So what we would want to do is actually get the profitability happening first, get the right level of clients for you, and have that service offering that you have really aligned well to them, so that it's a no-brainer, it's easy to sell, and have that working. When you're then at capacity, you've actually got a really healthy buffer there that you can look to. Well, okay, how can I scale this and grow even further? Well, then that may make sense to bring in somebody else to help you deliver, or there are other ways that you can also offload stuff off your plate and outsource, or bring in team members to support you. There's so many different ways of doing it, but the key is that you're not trying to do that before you've actually got the game that you can win to begin with in the business. We need to have that really healthy, profitable business on that initial level, and then you can scale it. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a business where all you're doing is managing people that profit margin is really low and it's difficult to achieve the goal that you're setting out for. Now, this is, not huge. We're not talking about lots of work here. You've probably got a lot of what you already need in your business, but the pieces may not be aligned in the way that's going to give you the outcome that you need. So this is exactly the process that we're going through inside, a program like, for me, in my Business Jam program. That is essentially the work that we're doing in Business Jam, is reviewing where we're at, assessing, what are the quality clients, and then looking at your business and how can you just shift a little bit to realign to it, to actually attract them instead. It's so subtle because, yes, you still want to attract clients, but you're just being a little bit more tailored and specific about the sort of clients that you want to attract. And when you do that, amazingly, that's who shows up, which is fantastic. So I love to see the kind of results that we're getting, with people who previously were just getting a few referrals. I've had clients in Business Jam that had, an offering that was quite low level and we're just getting referrals and finding it really hard to get clients, to as soon as they shifted it into a place where they were operating at their highest value and actually had something really amazing to offer the clients. And, their offering was 100% supporting this. They were tailored, they were aligned to the clients who are the right people for it as well. It was just so much easier for them to actually sign any clients at all, and they were the right ones, which had a huge impact to business. So that's where you see stories, such as, well, so-and-so grew their profit by 500%, or, they were on track to quadruple their income from the year before. That's no mistake. It wasn't just by chance. It wasn't that they started to do more social media or something like that. It was actually because they're aligning to these better quality of clients. And the beautiful thing about this, especially for me, I don't know if you're still listening, hopefully you also believe that life is for living, it's not for working. Work should kind of support your life. And I fully believe in having a business that allows you to live the lifestyle that you want, to not be working all the time, to, be able to, like this morning, kids went to school and I went on a big 1.5-hour walk / run. Keep on getting knee pain, so I don't run the whole way, but I did 10 Ks, firstly along the path, and then I came back actually along the beach, and just my feet in the beautiful water and the sand. And I got home, I probably started work at 10:30 this morning, which seemed a little bit insane. It seemed like, wow, what a luxury this is, but this is my life. I'm literally able to do that pretty much most days that I choose to. And that's what I love so much about it. That's what I want for everybody to be thinking, yeah, I'm 100% winning. I'm winning at life. I'm winning at business. I've got a business that I love. And, this is possible for you. You don't need to be, I hear people so often saying, oh, well, you've got to be a business coach, or that's okay for you because of what you do in your business. It's like, no, my clients who have achieved these same results in my program, Business Jam, some of them are coaches, but there's a whole lot who are not coaches. So I've had brand consultants, website designers, career consultants, and, people who are helping people with their resumes and career plans. There are so many different types of professional service-based businesses. It doesn't matter whether they are a coach or if they're providing done-for-you services. These people have all been able to have that same result. I've got a voiceover artist who, went from charging by the second and minute to actually just having 3 clients a year on strategic packages. And she got her 500% growth in, a matter of a few months. By the end, it wasn't even the whole year, it was sort of about 9 months. She had already saved half of her house deposit that had been a 5-year savings plan. So this is, completely possible for you, regardless of whether you're also a coach or have a coaching business. That's not, I haven't created a coaching business out of something because that's how people make money. I do marketing. That was my background. I've created a coaching business to coach other people on how to have smarter, easier marketing that actually gets the result, rather than doing all of this frenetic energy that I see online. You only have to go onto Instagram or TikTok and you've got a million people in the feed saying, here's my method for getting, growing my Instagram audience, and, posting 5 reels a week and 2 lives and this many posts a day. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, well, that's literally all you're doing, is spending all your time on Instagram. So if they're doing that, then they aren't servicing clients in their business. They're just spending their entire time on Instagram. And ironically enough, they usually happen to be selling Instagram methodologies. So, let's take that with a pinch of salt and see things for what they are, I guess. But anyway, back to back to the secret, back to the secret to, having that fulfillment, having freedom in your business to live the life you want to live and be able to run it your way, and also be having that income level. Like, let's not beat around the bush. Business is not a charity. It's not a hobby to, just keep you interested and fulfilled. A business is there to make money. And it's not that we're greedy and want to make a lot of money. It's that the more you make in your business, the more you're able to impact others, the more you're able to potentially even grow your business so that you can help even more people. So making money in your business is not about you. It's not greedy. It's not anything like that. It's actually really, really important if your vision and your goal is to be an impact maker, if it is to help people with something that you care so much about. Well, the best way to do that is by being really profitable, so that you can hire help, so that you can expand your, the reach that you have out into the world and help more people. That is really the best outcome that you're hoping for in your business. So that's really all I had for you today. Now, what I've been talking about today is actually a very, very micro short version of what I've shared in my live training that I've been running over the last week and a half, called Master Your Marketing. That live training is now finished, still available on some recordings or replays. So if you really want to, get involved in having the longer training that I did, then reach out and get in touch and we can get some access to that for you. But right now, I guess, what is happening is Business Jam doors are currently open. It's this week only. So if this is the first time you're hearing about it, if this is your first episode on my podcast, welcome to the podcast. I have a program called Business Jam. It is for coaches. It's for what I call service professionals, which are really people who have a service-based business offering a type of service that they are a professional in. So that might be a form of marketing and business support. It could even be something like psychology or some therapy, mental health type of businesses. There's a whole host of things in there. And then there's coaching. So I have health coaches and some life coaches. We all have a very similar type of business because we're operating it online. We're primarily running and providing the services ourselves as the main service provider. And that's why the sort of strategies and the frameworks that I share inside Business Jam apply to all of these types of businesses. We have really one type with a few different variations there. So it's open right now. And what you get in there is a lot of what I've just been talking about in this episode. So it is the 5 parts of your strategy, how to align them so that you attract high quality clients and you can have that part-time fulfilling high income business that you really wanted when you started out. I show you the much easier way to get to that outcome in a much shorter time, and be seeing you having this lovely business that's so fulfilling and that you enjoy so much. Maybe before Christmas, if you get in and actually start making a few little changes, little tweaks in what you're doing to bring things into alignment and get quality clients showing up for you. So if that sounds like you, then you can head over to jessicaosborne.com/businessjam and find out a bit more about Business Jam and how you can work with me. This is an online program. Yes, there's some live coaching and training that happens with Business Jam. And then there's even a higher level of coaching for people who want more regular contact with me, more regular support. Then there is what I call the accelerator group. So limited spaces in the accelerator group, because obviously there's a lot of effort and energy that I put into having that closer relationship, coaching relationship with people in the accelerator group. But if that sounds like you can find out a bit more about it over on my website on the Business Jam page. So I encourage you to head over and check it out if that sounds like something that you may be interested in. And thank you for listening. Now, if you are a subscriber, thank you so much for following the podcast. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that little plus button if you're on Apple Podcasts, or hit subscribe on Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, any of the podcasting apps that you happen to be listening on. Hit subscribe so that you get the weekly episode already downloaded and they're available to you on your device. This podcast, my intention for the podcast is to reach people and to share what I know, share some knowledge, bring amazing guests on who can share their expertise with you and really provide you with that, some tools, some insights, some things to motivate you on your business journey. And in order for me to be able to do that and help more people, then I really need your support. So please drop me a rating, a 5-star rating, and a quick review. It literally takes 10 seconds. If you scroll down under this episode, find the 5 stars, click on 5, and then you only need to write a couple of words as a review. But this helps the podcast be seen by more people, which helps, us be able to reach out and support more people in their business, with everything that we're providing here on the podcast with me and my guests. We are doing this because we love to help people. We actually just want to share all the knowledge, all the experience that we have, and reach more people and see that success happening. So if you haven't yet given a rating and a review, I'd really appreciate you if you would do that and help us to spread the word of the podcast. So thank you in advance for that. And I will speak to you next week.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of She's a Business podcast. I hope that you've been enjoying it as much as I have in creating the content to bring to you. So I really appreciate you being here. I appreciate your presence and your attention. Now, if you love the podcast, or maybe you just loved today's episode, then I would absolutely appreciate it if you would go to Apple Podcasts, scroll down, hit the 5 stars, and then leave me a short review about what it was that you really enjoyed in this episode, or maybe in the podcast overall. And when I receive those reviews, then I love to give those reviewers a shout out on my future podcast episodes. So you never know, you may hear your name getting a shout out in a future episode if you do that. So thank you once again for your time, and I'll see you next time on She's the Business.